Gotta introduce my good brother. I've put him over plenty of times already on this show, and I put him over on multiple times on multiple platforms. He is wrestling's richest prize, Mr. 149 on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500, the All Father himself, and like I said, the best heel in the business today, Mr. Darius Carter.
See, I couldn't have done that better myself. How you doing, Mr. Darius Carter? It's good to see you.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He made it. Oh, glad to be here. Thank you for hitting the All Fathers line. Of course, Wi-Fi is going all over the place in my office exactly when I need to have this interview. So that's the way the cookie crumbles, but you still gotta make it work. So thank you for having me so much. I'm very grateful.
Thank you for joining us. By the way, we did an interview with Marty Garner not too long ago, and his internet just shit the bed completely. He was in his car on his phone. We had to redo parts of the interview later on. So as far as things go, you're good.
Yeah, this is on my phone. I still have my laptop. I actually have my phone placed on my laptop, hoping my laptop's going to work in time. But I was like, well, I got to get on here. So it's amazing. The only things that work are the computers that they give you at the marketing stations. If you bring your own, somehow it doesn't work. So what are you going to do? But so glad to be here.
SB3, kick us off. I know you want to ask the hard questions.
Yes, Darius. I look at this guy. He got the
what? Oh, man. I'm nation on him. Woo.
Well, that's the perfect segue for my first question, because like I said, I think you're someone that is so kind of well versed, whether it be on the microphone, your character, and in the ring. Kind of tell everybody kind of your influences and who inspired you to kind of get into the wrestling business, and who do you kind of model yourself after?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've come up on the traditional, some of the more traditional wrestlers, and then you kind of try and bring it to the modern times. The first wrestler that ever captured me was the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Just grabbed me in every possible way. And I don't just mean his look, and I don't just mean the way he spoke. It was the way he wrestled. Everything came together for me when it came to Ric Flair. Sometimes a wrestler looks a certain way, and then they go in and they don't wrestle like how their persona is. Everything about Ric Flair was Ric Flair. The limousines, the women, the money, the different suits, and the style, the grace, the handsome face, and then he'd go in there, and then he could pick you apart, and he could be mean, and he could be vicious, and he could be brutal, and all of that captured me. To me, it was like everything that I could want in a wrestler was essentially in Ric Flair. So he was really my first inspiration. And over time, people like William Regal would come into the fixture as people that I would emulate as I became more familiar with the European style. And then the likes of Billy Robinson, World of Sport, Catch as Catch Can, that Lancashire style. Gritty, in your face, but you could still be sophisticated. You could still be classy, but also be someone that handles business. And that's the type of person that I always that's what I always really aspired to be. That's always something that stuck in the back of my head, even before I became a wrestler. And I watch those matches back. Even now, it's like you never know everything. If you've watched the match before, you can watch it again. And I emulate. It's my own touch. It's who I am. I'm not just grabbing from these people. It's always with a particular Darius Carter touch. But that inspiration keeps me going. It's you could I could watch wrestling now and then go back and watch a Ric Flair match,
So
Timeless.
Earlier today, you had tweeted to our pal Kate, who is also a host here on Fightful, some of your favorite matches, including Billy Robinson, who you just mentioned as one of your, one of your all-time greats. there was a match from 1977 against Jumbo Tsuruta. What is it about a match like that that does it for you in a world where like wrestling has evolved into this? There's so many different styles, but you're going back to 77 and even earlier than that. Like what is it that's doing it and keeping you so involved in that style of wrestling?
I call a lot of it close quarters combat, and that might seem a little redundant because you would think all combat is close quarters. But for me, so like if you watch that match, before they even lock up, before they even touch, the way that they engage the crowd, the way, the legitimacy, the feel of it, you feel like you're about to watch one of the biggest matches that you've ever watched. You know, it just the air is thick, the atmosphere is palpable. This is before you even touch. You know, a lot of times you get right into it, you rush into the lockup, or you get into the quick movements to catch people's attention. But you can catch people's attention before you even touch, and those two did it. Those two did it, and that to me is like, wow, how do I get people to really be fixed in? You know, sure, you have your cell phone, but you're recording us standing there. You're recording me look at my adversary from across the ring. That's what I like. I like to see people catching those little nuances. And I think I don't want to say that's entirely missing today, because it's not entirely missing, but it's definitely not there in the capacity that it was back then. When those two get close to each other before they even touch, it's like, oh man, what are they going to do? It's tension. And that's what a wrestling match is. It's tension. It's two stories, and only one of them can come true, right? Only one of them can propel forward with that win. So you feel that intensity, that grit. And I want that in my matches. And I don't, it doesn't matter to me what your style is. I don't care if you're a high flyer, luchador, brawler. We can have that atmosphere if we do it the right way. And that is what catches me. I saw that tweet from her and I was like, I got a few here. Let me say, and not saying they're particularly my favorite of all, because YouTube doesn't have everything, but I was like, they're right there. I was like, let me send this over to her. And I'm glad that she, responded, so receptively, because to me, those matches, Dory Funk Jr. And just that style and Lee Bronson that I sent as well, World of Sport. So 3 different types of matches I also wanted to send to her. I didn't want to send her 3 World of Sport matches. I didn't want to send her 3 All Japan matches. I was like, let's give you a little, boom, 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 and 3 different styles.
The best part about Wi-Fi.
Yes. They felt he was cooking. They had to stop. It was too hot in the kitchen. They had to stop him from cooking.
This is always how it goes. The best interviews are the ones where they make you wait for it. He's going to be back in a sec. This is riveting stuff too. I love it. So I'm hoping that Darius will be back with us momentarily, and we'll get into it. But yeah, man, God, that you should go out and check out some of these matches that he had mentioned, because there was some really good stuff in there.
Yeah, and like you said, it's easily accessible. It's on YouTube. It's available to you, and it's not a lot of people will go to take the time to look it up. But Darius is really like a student of the game, and that's why he kind of knew that right off the bat. And there he goes. He's back with it.
I don't know if the Wi-Fi, so I just turned the Wi-Fi off. I'm going to go by my phone data, which tends to be better. So hopefully we're good here. So I don't know how much I missed, but
no. Yeah, we just filled in. We filled in the blanks for you. But I wanted to ask, because this year has been a very great year for you. I know you got a huge matchup coming up on Saturday against Janai Kai for Battle Club Pro. But I was so proud, being someone that you yourself have said, I've been shooting in the gym with you as far as being a fan of your work for a while, but you are a part of WrestleMania weekend for the culture. And I felt so proud because I heard so many people after watching that event, the person that they wanted to know more about was Darius Carter. So how was that experience for you, being on that show and getting that huge win in that scramble match to open up the show?
And that's great. And those are 2 different points, right? It's 1 point to be in the match itself, and it's another to win. Very different. And that's what I kept pointing out is like, guys, all right, it's great that I'm there. I'm glad that I'm going to be there, but I'm not a happy to be there guy. I'm not a take my envelope, go in the match, do a little something, leave, and say I did it. I need to win, and I need people to know who I am. I need people to recognize. I walked out there. I'm looking people in the eyes. I want them to see who I am, and what I'm presenting to them. And I didn't even get my full entrance, by the way. I'm not going to knock them. It's GCW. It is what it is. Maybe I would have taken the light from other people, but I get up on the apron. I didn't even get to do my thing, but that's okay because they still remembered. And that's a challenge you overcome. That's a hurdle you overcome. It's like if Triple H doesn't get his water spit on the apron, it's like, but that's okay. I didn't need that. I was something different in that match. And for me, that was a huge deal because that was my For the Culture debut, for the third annual event. And I had been with GCW before. I did the gray sweatpants battle royal, Faye Jackson's back in 2021, which was fine and well. And that got a lot of great reception too. I received bookings and opportunities from that alone because I went out there in a 3-piece suit in like 95-degree weather. And people are like, what are you thinking? And I said, what am I not thinking? I mean, this is who I am. If I came out there in anything else, that's not Darius Carter. That's not who I am. So I come out there in a gray 3-piece with the scarf on, and people are already hating me just because they see me like that. So that's the psychology that you're playing with people. They already are like, nah, this man's no good, And that got me a lot of opportunity from 2 years ago. So again, that's why I'm grateful for GCW. Our relationship, I might wrestle for them once a year, but that's fine if it pays off in this way and it allows me to pave my own path. I'm not looking to ride a coattail. I don't want a handout. I don't want to be given anything that wasn't earned on merit. I'm 100% a merit person. I'll step in the ring with people who get places, and maybe it's not based on that merit. And then you realize, okay, just because someone is somewhere that may be a little higher doesn't mean that they're on a higher level. It's just they were seen and you weren't. And that's no knock on that's just how the game works. It is what it is. But I'm focused on me. I'm focused on improving myself and being the best version of Darius Carter every time you see me. The Darius Carter you get last weekend, is just a little less sharp than the Carter you get this weekend. That's just how I always want to be. And I have a busy, just going from Janai Kai on Saturday to Marcus Mathers on Sunday. I have to step up to her and then come even better the next day. It's just the way that the game is. You should always improve. Even if it's a modicum, you should always get a little bit better every time you enter and exit that ring. So that's all paid off for me. And it was nice to see the reception. It was nice that people were like, they got onto it, they're like, man, we've been looking for this guy. And other people were like, wow, maybe we didn't know him, but I need to know him. Who is Darius Carter? Where has this man been? That's what I keep hearing. And I'm like, listen, I'm not the one with the pen and paper. So, I'm not the one booking at these things, but a lot of messages like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back to LA? When are you coming back to Baldwin Park for VXS? When are you making your return? I'm like, when they pay me. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? But all that, man, those experiences I never ever forget. They make you so much better. I had to go out there. I knew I had to be there, especially after not being able to go last year to Texas. And I was able to go to Florida the year before. So I was like, all right, LA, like, how many times are you going to go to California, with this type of pomp and circumstance? So I'm glad that paid off. And I'm glad that you guys, noticed that. So thank you.
So speaking of GCW, you're trying to call your shots. You want the winner of Mance Warner and George South? Come on,
I sure do.
Who would you rather? I think I have an answer. I think I know, but who would you rather, and why that match, and why not call your shot against, say, the GCW World Champion Blake Christian? What is it about these guys?
Well, because I'm more likely to get the match with someone who isn't the champion, right? So, but
another one for another title right now. So we'll talk about that.
Right. I mean, let's be honest. If I go in there and face Blake Christian, I'm gonna beat him, and I don't care if he was in the WWE or not, on 205 or not. And that's not something GCW wants. Just GCW doesn't want their guy getting beat by this, by this outsider once a year guy. But that's how it is, and that's no disrespect to Blake, but Blake's never seen anything like Darius Carter, so he's best off cashing in on Masha Slamovich when she's half dead, because she ain't ready for 100% Darius Carter. I don't care who you saw in the WWE. And again, that's no offense. And if he's listening to this, which I'm sure he's not, then, go ahead, man. Make the call. Make the challenge. But, George South or Mance Warner, who do I want? I want the better wrestler. So I want the winner, That's just how it is. I'm not the biggest dream match guy. There are matches I'd like to have, sure. But, I want the best. So if Mance Warner beats George South, I'll be knocking on Mance Warner's door. And if the other happens, if George South puts down Mance, then George South knows that the All-Father's looking for him. I'd love both of those individuals. I'd like them in a single situation. Triple threat, they can pin each other. That's not fair to me. But a singles match with either of them, both of them, let's get it done. I think GCW, I think the crowd would really be into something like that. It would be a different type of match than what's on the rest of their card. And that's satisfaction guaranteed. That's all. That's a chef kiss and a half right there. I mean, what are we talking about? Dave Meltzer will be sitting there ready to put his stars out. That's the game. Come on, man. And both of those men, in all seriousness, man, they're both a callback. They're both traditionalists. I mean, what do we have to say about George South and the decades and decades of inspirational work that he's done? Wrestling all of the best that the business has seen, that wrestlers they don't even know. Wrestlers they don't even know these guys that George South was in there with back in the 70s and the 80s. Come on, man. And and then you have Mance Warner, and Mance is another one who's just a callback. And that's a match I've wanted for a long time. And Mance has said he's wanted it too, because Mance says he doesn't always get to have wrestling matches. He doesn't always get to grapple, and he has the ability. And I'm not saying that's the type of match that it would be, top to bottom, but I would definitely tie him up, and I'd like to see his defense against that. So, both of those men, incredible. I think those are two of the best wrestlers to grace a GCW ring. So that would be, those are the people I want. I want the best. Just being the champion doesn't mean you're particularly the best there. So, I want that. And that would be a great introduction, I think, for me to a GCW crowd in a singles capacity. Because the one thing that I heard about my match with GCW was, and it's not much I can do about that, was they were like, well, that's not the environment I would have put Carter in. I would have put him in a singles match and this or that. But that's why you go into a multi-man match and make yourself stand out. How does The Miz make himself stand out when he's in a match against, AJ Styles and Ricochet and Rey Mysterio? And, how does The Miz stand out? We know the answer to that question already. And that's what I want to be. It's not that I can't mix with high flying in this style, but it's that, guys, here's Darius Carter. I got to watch that guy. And no matter what's going on in the ring, I got to see where Carter is, because he could snatch this thing at a moment's notice. And look how I won that match in GCW. I snatched it. I didn't steal it, because there's nothing wrong with what I did. But Devin Monroe hits a crossbody on Judiz. I dump, and I do mean dump. I dumped Devin Monroe. I'm reliving it in my mind. And I'm laughing because I remember the body hitting the floor. I dumped Devin out. I take the pin, and then I had J Rose announce my victory multiple times, because I needed everybody to remember and know what I got done. That's the game. That's the game.
And you play the game very well, and you're not just making challenges, you've been actually accepting some open challenges out there in the ether from a certain NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tyrus, as of recently. And you talked about how Ric Flair was such an inspiration to you, and the 10 pounds of gold is the title that is really synonymous with him. Kind of tell us why you decided to kind kind of put your name in the hat to face Tyrese for the NWA World Championship. And since you're on a platform here, let it be known, just in case Billy Corgan and Tyrese happen to come across this interview here or happen to clip this, let them know why you should be in a matchup for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Absolutely. I mean, this is for William, and is that, I don't know how he says his name now. I thought it was Tyrus, but maybe he changed it. I'm not sure. Tyrus, Brodus. In all due respect, listen. I listen. Bringing the championship onto the news networks and Fox, that's fantastic. There's no doubt that the man is getting press on that championship. But is all that press the way that it should be? Is all that press positive? Absolutely not. Is all that press and directly related to professional wrestling? No, it's not. And here's the thing, right? The NWA Championship goes back so long to a time that I wish that I could be in. I wish I could have experienced the territories. I wish I could have traveled. I wish I could have known what it was like to have an area, be at the top of that area, and then be sent to another area, and then sent to another and another, because that's really development at its finest. The thing about, that whole NWA Championship situation is they're presenting open challenges, but it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel to me that you're really giving all the opportunities that you can to the most deserving talent and challengers out there. And that's, again, it's not to discredit NWA. Maybe, you have people in your area, and maybe you're only looking, 400 or 500 miles. Maybe you're not looking that far out. But I'm telling you right now, when they mention Darius Carter and NWA's Twitter feed is buzzing, you see that notification bell going off, you shouldn't ignore that. When you keep hearing people suggesting me, I'm not sitting here saying Darius Carter and tweeting NWA every single day. This is people, whenever NWA asks who should be brought in, whenever NWA asks who should get a heavyweight championship opportunity, my feed is blowing up. People are constantly bringing up Darius Carter. I would be the right fit. Give me the mic. Give me the ring. You can give me 3 minutes. You don't need to give me the world, because I can make the world out of a city. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be challenged. I'm not asking for it to be easy. I don't want it to be easy. But if you don't think you can make money with Darius Carter, let's talk about the promotions that I'm champion of right now. BCW, Warriors of Wrestling, all these places that I'm traveling. PWI, how do I get to be Mr. 149? How do I get to be one of the top 149 wrestlers in the world, as ranked by the most historic professional wrestling magazine in the world? How do I get there without legitimacy? I'm not paying anybody. I'm not constantly submitting something to get someone's attention. Even if I did, I'm not getting 149. How did I get there? And that's what people need to realize. It's not all talk. It's all a complete package. When you get Darius Carter, you get everything. You get the look. You get the mic work. You get the ring work. In and out of the ring, you're getting somebody that you want to put a championship on. You're like, oh my goodness, please take it. And I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and get that. Let me get it in the ring. No, take it. That's the type of champion I've always wanted to be. It goes right back to Ric Flair. If Ric Flair walked into a room, you'd be like, and he was debuting for your company, you're like, where has this man been? And that's the feeling I want promoters to have. When they book me for the first time, where's he been? Why didn't I do this sooner? Steve Pena said that, and a few people said that. They're like, listen, you see this guy, you give him an opportunity, and you're going to be like, what have we been doing this whole time? And I'm not saying this to be braggadocious. I'm saying this because I put time and effort and energy every moment of the day into who Darius Carter is. This isn't just a job. This isn't an on and off thing for me. This is who I am and who I represent, to show people that a persona like this can exist in 2023. I think I represent something that's very real and that's missing in wrestling. I don't think we have someone who's really going back into the tradition and bringing it fully into the modern times. You have people that are more traditional, but I'm mixing it. I'm mixing 2023 with the style, with the look, with a 1970s, 80s wrestling approach. I think that's a very hard combination to do, especially when you're talking about mic skills and you're talking about promotion, advertisement, all the things it takes to be a great wrestler. How many people are covering those bases without a support system like me? I mean, I don't have a company that's going to retweet me and get me thousands of retweets. I don't have an Impact Wrestling or a WWE or an NWA or an AEW or a Ring of Honor to go and push my stuff out. So if you know Darius Carter, 9 times out of 10, it's based off of me pushing it off. And then the promotion retweets me. I'll tweet about Catalyst Wrestling retweets me. I'll tweet about Warriors of Wrestling. They'll put me out there. So it's like I have to stir my own business. And that I've always been. And that's why these companies will bring me in. And then over time, I'm your champion. I'm your top guy. I'm your reliable hand. I'm the one that has to be at every show. And that's what we're experiencing now. And I take pride in that. I really do, because I work in that and I work to keep it.
So as we start to wind down, talking about Warriors of Wrestling, you've been their champion for over 240 days. It's your 7th successful defense this past weekend over Danny Storm. Who's next and who's left? And I know you don't talk big on dream matches, but is there someone out there that kind of tickles your fancy for another title defense at Warriors of Wrestling?
Well, let me put it to you like this. July 8th, a certain somebody who made an appearance at WWE Backlash will be challenging me for my championship. It's going to be a fatal 4-way, but he's going to be in it, and that's Carlito. So I will actually be defending my championship on the 8th, Staten Island, New York, Warriors of Wrestling, against Carlito, against TJ Marconi, who was a member of the Crusade for Change, one of my best friends in the business, and Justin Adams, who 2022 King of New York, which is their annual tournament that they run, annually. Annual tournament they run annually. That's redundant, but it is what it is. So that's going to be a big, big, big match for me because I'm going straight for Carlito. I'm going straight for him. I know he's going to, Carlito's has that energy. I know he's souped up. He's in the best condition of his life after everything he did at Backlash. One of the most successful pay-per-views that we've seen of all time for WWE. And again, it's not just attendance, it's numbers that they did. This is covered nationally, internationally. And now here comes Carlito coming to challenge Darius Carter for my championship. What does that tell you? That means that he's paying attention. That means that man has some part of his nose to the ground when it comes to getting work. And he's not just going to wrestle anybody. So it's tremendous that he's going to be showing up to challenge me. And he's going to lose. So I'm going to send him back to Puerto Rico with a loss. And maybe he can go and show up at Backlash next year. So this is the type of person I am. Again, I have a job to do. I have to not just compete against this man and look great, but I have to send him back. And that's cool. All right? That's real cool. And that's the type of way I'm living. That's the way I want to live. I want to face the best. I want to be challenged and pressed and pushed. Show me, because I'm ready to show you.
Do you have something in your arsenal to deal with the apple that Carlito is inevitably going to spit in your face?
Yeah, one of my opponents. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and yep, absolutely. Yeah. TJ, great friend of mine. He'll take an apple for me. Come here, TJ. Come here. See that? He's loading up. Come here. He'll do that for me. Hey, what do you want me to tell you? Justin Adams, good kid coming, Justin, come here. Take that for me. And then, he could go ahead and enjoy some red or green apple. I don't know what Carlito's going to bring. We'll see if it's going to be a Granny Smith apple. Again, none of my business because it's not my concern. All I know is Carlito's finish is the backstabber, but he better watch his back because anytime he's not looking at the champion, who is his biggest threat, that's a moment that he can drop that match. And I'm not trying to pin one of the other opponents in this match. I know usually in a 4-way match, you want to beat anybody to win. And sure, I'd love to do that. But in this match, I'd like to pin Carlito. I would like him to feel that loss of my 3 opponents that night. And he can go ahead and get his apple spit and get his backstabber and get his Carlito Caribbean cool, chant or photo signings or whatever he needs to do. He can do that. He can do whatever he wants on July 8th, but what he can't do is walk away with my Warriors of Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, because this is the legend run, baby. 4-time Warriors of Wrestling World Champion, more than anybody in company history, and that place has been running for over 15 years consecutively. So say what you want. Maybe they're not the biggest, maybe they're not the most well-known to you, but they have been running longer than anyone in that area. They have press. They get the PWI. So let me tell you something. Carlito, don't sleep. Don't sleep. That's all I'm telling you.
I wanted to ask one more question before, let everybody know about July 8th. Let everybody know what you're doing this weekend with your two huge matches. You brought up Carlito. So I think about WWE legends and another WWE legend, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, Sean Waltman, basically shouted you out, was asking the question that you said earlier, where's Darius Carter at? I need to see Darius Carter. How surprised were you by him just coming out of nowhere and saying that? And what kind of is that to someone else that you would like to see yourself kind of back in the ring with potentially down the road if he decides, because he's saying that he's training to get back into the ring? But overall, what was your thoughts on the feedback and all the response that you got from that little tweet there?
Oh yeah, 110%. And you want to know what's funny about that is I think the way that I'm viewed is almost similar to how he was back then in the 90s, because he was always underestimated. He was always somewhat undervalued as a wrestler, because he would always have incredible, very strong matches, not just quick, flashy matches, but he would have some hard hitting. I mean, the man would kick and he would really light you up. And I mean, X-Pac, whether he was 6-Pac, or 6, whatever he went by, whatever stable he was in, or even when he was by himself, X-Pac always was different and always brought some thunder. He always brought some lightning to the situation. And I think I'm similar in that respect. I think I'm obviously undervalued in some respect. And then I go out there and then it's like, whoa, wow, that was different. And I think X-Pac did the same thing. I don't think there was anybody that really wrestled like X-Pac. I don't think there was anybody like you can say, okay, this thing he did could have been similar to that person, but overall as a style, he was very unique. And I feel the same way about me. You can't just say, oh, it's like William Regal, or oh, it's like Ric Flair, because there's different nuances and touches that I put to it to make it different. So I think we were a little similar in that respect. I would absolutely love a match with X-Pac. I hope that happens. I know that tweet kind of went bye-bye, but maybe that's because his notifications were blowing up and he had other things to do. I don't know. Maybe a hater, tried to pass him off. Who knows? But all I can tell you is that he tweeted it and that it gained so much traction, and I think it would still have traction to this day if the tweet was still up. I think that it was nice to see people come from the shadows and show support. There's a lot of people that support me that maybe don't feel like they can step forward and support me. For whatever reason, politically, whatever. I think what it is, man, is I'm very in tune with who I am, and I think that's threatening to a lot of people. I think it's a little scary to take on someone like a Darius Carter who's very well aware of himself, and they don't know who I am, and they're kind of like, oh, well, and it's like, no, man, just all you have to do is crack the door, and I will walk through myself. I will take care of your home. I will leave it better than when it came in, and I'll close the door behind me, and I'll wipe my feet. And that's the thing. Some people just run in and want to get their stuff, and they don't care. To me, it's all about respect and tradition and opportunity. And to see X-Pac even think that, to even be watching me that closely was tremendous, because obviously he's been watching me for some time for him to put that out. So there's a lot that went behind that tweet that meant more to me than, just to get the notifications. I was just getting nuked. And I'm like, hey, I can't even respond to everything. I'm like, at this point, I'm just going to wait until I'm going to wait until the ocean breezes through so I can try and respond. It's like, it was tremendous. And I'm eternally grateful he did that for me. I'm eternally grateful that I had that support from people, from my peers, from on-watchers, from people that have followed the Darius Carter quest, because it's been a journey. It will continue to be a journey because I do it my way. I am different. I'm not somebody that's begging and pleading. I'm somebody that's, hey, this is what I have, and give me the opportunity if you can to show you what I can do. And those people that give me the opportunity, they bring me back. So that to me is everything. And to get that from X-Pac, to get that nod of approval, that seal of approval from a 2-time Hall of Famer. Come on. Well, God, what more can I ask for? What more can Darius Carter want? That meant everything to me. And that'll stay with me for the rest of my days. And he'll know it because when I see him, he's going to know it. So that's everything to me.
Before we let you go, I have one last question before you plug away and tell us everything that's going on. You have a very signature sneer about you. Kind of like The Rock with the eyebrow, kind of like Dave Mustaine from Megadeth with the lip curl. Is this something you were born with, or did you just kind of develop it? Come on, what happened?
You want the...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about. That's funny. I've never been asked that question. I love these things. I developed that. I would like to say I developed that. I wasn't miserable at birth. It's just I think you get that from just situations you encounter in life, and then you just bring it into wrestling. And I was taking promo pictures, and you just did that look, and then people were like, oh, there's that sneer, and people were calling it the Carter sneer for like a decade. And I'm like, okay. And it's a face that I make. But emoting is so important. Being in the moment is so important. So I do that in the ring too. I don't just do it, for promos and then in the ring my face is dry. No, for me, I want people to watch everything. They're watching my movements. They're watching my face a lot. I can hear. I listen while I'm on the mat, or while I have a headlock on, or while I'm Irish whipping, or while I'm grappling. I'm doing the best I can to listen and hear what people are saying, or see what they're looking at, make eye contact with people, especially in the front row. And to me, your facials are so much. It's so much of wrestling because people want to feel like they're in there with you. So when I throw an uppercut and I have a face on, they're like, oh, it adds that viciousness to it. When I'm, dusting someone off with my boot and I have that sneer on my face, it adds that, like this guy, all of that matters, and look, you look at William Regal, one of the kings of facial expressions. I mean, this man could take a German suplex, and the way he takes it is different than anyone else in the game, because he'll sit up and make that, that look on his face, like, what did I just get hit with? And it's like, I want people to feel that. And that keeps them into the match and everything. Like, wow, there it is. Like, finally, Carter feels pain. And it's like, this is what wrestling is to me. It's everything. As much as I tout the technical aspect of it and the basics and the fundamentals, facials, body language are so much of it. And that's another part that I think is greatly overlooked now. I think people don't think that that's as necessary, or they make the facial at the end. They don't make it all the way through. They make it at the start and at the end, but then you pause and you're watching during the match and it's not there. To me, every point of the match, I want you to be like, wow, Carter was there at every point, and he made sure his opponent was there with him. That stuff all matters.
Perfection. Darius, Mr. Darius Carter, please plug your stuff as we get out of here. Thank you so much for your time. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So again, this Saturday, the 17th, Brooklyn, New York, part of Black WrestleFest 2. I will be competing against Janai Kai at a submission match. I've been telling Joaquim, the promoter, I said, get me competition, get me the best that you can get me. Last time I was there, I wrestled Jorge Santi in a match that still people are talking about to this day, which is fantastic. That was Ante Up. That was the 21st of April. And then before that, I wrestled Steve Pena in one of my favorite matches of the year. That was January 21st at the same venue for the 5 Points Championship. So I'm having the best matches of my life. And the thing about Janai is living her dream. And I've been saying this. She's getting every single opportunity that she deserves, but she is having doors open for her. She is having opportunities given to her that maybe I'm not on that level. And that's okay, because she knows I deserve them. Joaquim knows I deserve them. And the crowd's going to see exactly why, because I'm going to take that woman with her bare feet and I'm going to submit her in front of the culture, the entire culture watching, the culture that I will be ruling over very soon. They're all going to be watching when Janai gives us this. And she can go back to Japan after that and kick all the girls she wants. But on Saturday, this is what you're getting, sweetheart. You can tell Yoya, tell him he can be next to. Everybody does this to Carter when I want it to happen. And then this Sunday, the next day, BCW World Championship defense against Marcus Mathers. That title I took over to LA, or I should say Baldwin Park in California for VXS. And I had my first defense in California. Won the championship in Jersey, made sure I was in California to kick off WrestleMania week with a successful championship defense. And then we have next Saturday, I hadn't announced it yet, but it's going to be Pro Wrestling Magic. I will be there on IWTV for closing time, their last event of the they do a break. So they do a summer break and then they come back in September. So I will be there. I can't say much more than that. I hadn't even said anything to this point. So that's an announcement for you there is the 24th in Richfield Park, Pro Wrestling Magic. Closing time, Darius Carter will be making his return. And that's going to be, that's June. And then we get into July, which I could tell you now, but when it comes time for me to plug my material, you can go ahead and have a little more added incentive to click those links. So that's going to be these next three matches or these next three bookings are the most crucial to me. Again, Janai Kai, I have to tap you out, sweetheart. I think you're a tremendous talent. I do think you're one of the best women's wrestlers on the scene today. You are globally recognized, and you should be. But again, you're getting spots that I could be getting too. I'm just as good, if not better. So she's going to find out when she does the tap out. And I can't wait for Joaquin's face to be, oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You booked the match. This is what you get. So that's Saturday. Again, Saturday the 17th, Sunday the 18th, and then next Saturday the 24th. All Darius Carter, baby.
Check him out. For the love of God, go check out Darius Carter. Wherever you can find him, go check him out. Thank you so much. You were very generous with your time and your answers as well. Very fantastic. Thank you, Darius. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Darius. Hey, you had DC on Fightful, baby, because I am full of fight all day and all night. Because the time for change is now. Yes.
Let's
Facebook, go. Instagram, Twitter. I'll say it in reverse. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't care. / Mr. Darius Carter. Find me, know me, learn me, because I'm the best thing going today. Woo!
Go back to your limousine ride and your jet flying, Mr. Carter, would you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, brother.
All right.